Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's video. I'm still feeling a little bit ill this morning, but I'll persevere. I just wanted to do a quick update for everyone just so I can let you guys know my thoughts on the current price action, the move that we had down yesterday, and yeah, just going into the future basically. So yeah, please do hit that like button, hit subscribe if you have not done so already, and let's get into it. So I will start off here on the higher time frames. Bitcoin, it kind of feels like we've moved out of, we're in a range anyway, but it kind of feels like we've moved out of this just steady uptrend into just more of a flat up at the top here, which is fairly standard. Okay, once you do get these exhaustive moves, you can see each time a high was taken, it's just here barely getting above the previous high, and then on this last high that we did put in on Monday, that just getting immediately retraced. You weren't able to get that continuation higher. We knew that it was pretty much exhausted. Just seeing the weakness that Bitcoin had last week with equities pumping so much, the Nasdaq, the SPX, just really getting those big moves up, and we were aware that they were looking very toppy. So the fact that Bitcoin comes up here on a Monday before the market even opens, not really the kind of thing you want to go long into. And that was exactly what I was saying on the stream that I did on Monday night. Like, you do not want to be long here. This is the opportunity to be looking for shorts, and I'll play a little bit of a clip on the price action that we had on that Monday evening, because like it literally did exactly what you would want it to do at that point. It was very, very easy to get into short positions, and yeah, they've paid off really nicely. There's been obviously opportunities to scalp against this move on the way down. There have been a few levels that we've been looking at on the way down that have been pretty decent trades. The kind of ones that you get, like you hit that TP1 and then you get stopped, or you just play the bounce and then be done with it because you're aware that the likelihood is that we're coming back down to the lows of the range. So yeah, on the higher time frames, I think basically I'm paying a lot of attention to just this range as a whole, and as long as we are ranging above the value area high, I don't really see any problem here. Like, you can see that this is an area here that it's building value, it's building balance within this region between that 20, around about that 23 to 20, yeah, 23k. Okay, so you're building kind of balance and value around about that 23k region. What you don't want to find is price coming back in like through this low volume area and getting caught underneath basically like 22,400, 22,300, because that starts to then like dramatically increase the probability that we're going to see a major dump, which is, it is on the cards, because if we do see even just a slight downturn on the equity markets, if they do not continue to pump, then I think it's very likely we see much lower on Bitcoin. So like you could have the Nasdaq and the SPX and all of those kind of things making higher lows, but Bitcoin just hasn't shown the strength against those markets over the past week or so. So I think that would translate into 17k on Bitcoin if we do get those bigger pullbacks. But for now, I mean, you're just trading this here as a range between this value area high and the highs. And I think that's what you can continue to trade. So the move down that we had yesterday, just staying here on the 4-hour time frame, is pretty decent. Okay, we came through all the way down from the top of one range, the 4-hour order block. Well, not really an order block, it's a huge little block. It's a huge block at the top there. But you came into that, you had that SFP off of the highs from the end of July. And then you got that move all the way back down to the daily level, an untapped daily level, always important. And the 4-hour AB that we did have at the lows. So this was one area that had not been yet tested. Okay, you can see that that's the start of the day on the 5th of August. You have a move up, at no point had that been back tested. Price comes back in, tests it, and has a nice bounce from that point. So from the 4-hour perspective, I mean, relatively straightforward, right? It's pretty easy, and it gives you very clear levels above. You can see here the daily open on a 4-hour AB, and then another daily level up here on a 4-hour AB. So the 4-hour is really driving things. It is really what is well, that's what you got to be paying attention to at the moment. Is this 4-hour chart is like so good, so good. And if you just want to have a more relaxed style of trading, looking at swing trades kind of over the course of a few days, then yeah, the 4-hour chart is really what you need. But if we go down onto the lower time frames, I just want to yeah, briefly cover the move from, I guess, this point here, because that I covered already during the stream. Like you had, let's go even lower time frame. I mean, this was very, very simple to get into the short position because you had such a clear invalidation. Short from here, you take out the highs, you give yourself an invalidation. There's your excess at the highs, and you're just looking to take that down as low as you want. I think at this stage you were looking for a change of market structure, which is like all the way down here anyway. So yeah, pretty decent short opportunity yesterday when we had that kind of spike up into the highs. You came back in, gave yourself an invalidation, very, very simple trade to get into, and then we had obviously the ABC that came down. You form a range for a little bit, and then it just falls off of a cliff yesterday. This one here is something I do want to cover as well. I'm just going to quickly play part of what it was that we were going over on stream. I know I cover a lot of stuff on the live streams, but pay attention to it. Write your notes on it, because it's amazing how often this stuff just plays out. So just bear with me. I'm just going to play this. You are long, you'd want to be taking profit off of that and then be looking for that final move up into this if we can get it later on into the evening. If we do lose VWAP at this stage, then realistically it's all the way back down here for myself, and that is why I'm looking to, I certainly do not want to be closing out of any short position right now, because I do think this move gets retraced. So at the moment, although I am looking for a bounce and a bit more of a range into the day, I think there's a pretty decent chance we can come back up here before we see a move down. I am looking at more downside throughout the rest of the week. I do think that this is basically a move up before the market even opens is a bit risky. You don't really want to be caught in long positions up here, because the chances are, like, I don't know if we'll be back up into this area anytime soon, or if you'll really get an exit from this. So if you do lose VWAP, it's going to be very hard for price to come back into this area and for any long positions to get out of those in profit. I'll stop it there. But yeah, that basically just goes over the bias that I had. I was feeling pretty bearish after a very bullish Monday. And what was it that we were saying? Again, if anyone remembers, where was the point of control on that day? You come up into it perfectly. Like, it just gave you such a good opportunity. You were holding that VWAP. You had a very brief spike below, which came into this 15-minute order block. Okay, immediate bounce into the point of control. That triggered a short position and an immediate sell-off from that point. So that is, I mean, it couldn't really have gone any better as a Monday to trade. And if you were paying attention, I mean, I know, like, basically everybody in the crew got this. Like, I could go onto Discord and I can just see the amount of people going like, short, and yeah, everyone was very, very happy with that. Stupid idiot here forgot to take the the YouTube page off the screen, and I did another 10 minutes of video content with YouTube in the background and not ExoCharts. So I'm gonna have to redo this whole thing again. Now I've got the right screen up. So basically, yeah, what I was saying on that YouTube clip was we were looking for this move up into the session point of control, right? And that is, like, literally exactly what happened. It was a really good move up, another just nice, brilliant opportunity to get into a short position, an immediate rejection from that before obviously getting that acceptance below the VWAP, which then left these like 3 kind of pushes to the downside. Now, as we came into yesterday morning, I was actually looking for a bit more of a range bound day. Like, I was aware that we'd had this kind of quite strong rejection off of the POC as we came back into that, but because we had these 3 moves down and we actually built some nice divergences at this point, I was looking for this move to come back up and potentially test back into this region once again, because we did have the golden pocket lining up quite nicely with where the previous day point of control and everything was. It wasn't to be. Okay, we had a much bigger move down yesterday than what I was expecting, but still, nonetheless, it was really, really nice price action. You can see as we come up, this high here actually took out these local ones on the USDT pair, on the Coinbase pair, on the Binance pair as well, but it didn't on the on the USD, the inverse perpetual, Coinbase and Binance, but it didn't on the USDT. So we didn't have that SFP on the USDT pair. But you can see here, as you start to kind of come down, you briefly lost that daily open, and then at this point you started to get that rejection from it, and that led to a much larger move to the downside. And this was just after we actually finished the daily trading, the London trading room, and we started to initiate this bigger move to the downside. Typical, right? We do the trading room and then you get the move afterwards. It happens all the time. Yeah, it was a really decent move down, actually. I think this is what we were expecting. Obviously, I wasn't expecting it to happen quite that soon. I was thinking maybe today being the day where you've got the big news event. Potentially we have the dump now, but we had the pre-CPI dump, which has happened before. And yeah, that led to a nice retrace back down towards the lows again, which, yeah, I mean, because I was fairly bearish to begin with to start the week after we had that big move up, that was nice to see because, yeah, very much in short positions at that point. Now, that doesn't mean that we didn't have opportunities to play like this kind of counter trend move. We can see here we had the single prints that were formed from that day. So there were a few levels on the way down that I will just go over quickly here. I think the 15-minute time frame shows this quite nicely. Okay, so you can see your acceptance below the daily open. Trigger that further move to the downside, you fill the single prints at that point. So as soon as you kind of fall into those, it is very likely that you're going to run the whole way back down and retrace the entire move, exactly what it was that we were saying the other day. And then, yeah, you had a couple of little like counter trend bounce plays, scalps to take off of this. Then you get that further move down that came into where the POC was on the day before getting that bounce up again here. Then of course you get your New York Open, where this level, the weekly open, what was the current POC, gets lost. You take that out, you have a nice retrace from there into a 15 and 30 minute order block. Pretty simple. Okay, you're playing the downtrend. You can see here highs, support turns into resistance. So what was here support turning into resistance, and then triggering another move down. So just very, very simply just playing that trend down, down, down. And then finally getting that move down here into the 4-hour order block and the daily level. So every single level that we were looking at, getting a really good reaction. Okay, like really, really nice reaction overall. So as counter trend scalps, which I really like to play, people do need to be aware that when we are in a downtrend, if I'm looking for longs, they are literally that. They are counter trend scalp positions, in and out as quickly as possible, or get your take profit in, set your stop loss at entry, and just allow the market to do what it wants to do. Because, yeah, that was quite a heavy move down that we had yesterday. But overall, just, yeah, nice price action. I actually missed most of the afternoon stuff, so I'm kind of saying this stuff in hindsight, but I know a lot of people within the crew were trading this really well. It's annoying, I had to go out yesterday afternoon, so I missed some of these, but I was able to get a couple of positions as we came in, like the end of the night when I was back home. And then, yeah, obviously another short position that I have just taken here that I'm going to go over in just a second. But yeah, the other thing I just want to show, I keep forgetting what I've already, because like I say, I did like 10 minutes of extra rambling on this before I realized that I had the wrong screen open. So let's just take the current, this little part of the range that we're in. We can see this point of control here, and this basically being the level that you've got to reclaim in order to get, for me to feel bullish again, is very, very clear. We've got to take out these highs. These highs here are the ones that are important. These are the highs that have got to get taken in order to change that market structure and to initiate a move back up towards 23,800, which is what I think is likely to happen if this can get reclaimed. However, I'm not really looking for that at the moment. I am looking for this to make a higher low somewhere within this region here. And then we can start to think about a change of market structure. The important thing to note as well from this is if we do make a higher low, just taking out this high will not constitute a change of market structure. Okay, this high here is the one that took the low. If this high here cannot take the low, that's not really a pivot, it's just internal. So you've still got to take out this high, you've still got to reclaim that level in order to get a move higher. I know I'm talking a lot about market structure recently on my streams and stuff. I am doing like a whole kind of series of these, basically just explaining my methods of how I look to trade the trend based on what is the strongest pivot in the market, and then how I look to basically counter those and understand where the potential reversal points are. So yeah, working on a series of videos. They'll probably be released next month for the crew, a few public ones as well, that basically explain that full like methodology for trading that I am using. Anyway, off on a little bit of a tangent. What I also wanted to explain here was this developing POC. Okay, so you can see here, really nice. You can see almost like every time the POC shifts, you get to move away from it. So you have that POC that's shifted up on the weekly open, and you have a big markup in price outside of that. Price comes back down, bounces off the point of control for this current move before coming back in to what was previously support, turning into resistance, initiating another move down. As you have that move down, what happens down here? The point of control shifts down, and this is of the entire range, remember? The point of control shifts back down, which enables another move away from it. So often when the point of control shifts into price, it can only shift to where price is, because it's the only way that the point of control can move. Unless price is there, then the point of control can't move, because it's not going to be generating volume anywhere else. So yeah, the point of control will shift, and then you get that repelling away from it. Price comes back into that order block, and then you can see here a POC still just remaining up at this point here. I do think if we do make a higher low, what we're probably going to find is the POC is going to shift back down, and then maybe that's the point in which we can look for a break from here. So you'll be looking again for pay attention to where the point of control is, and be able to trade where it is and where it was, because both of those things do give good reactions. So here you can see the POC shifts up, and you can see from the level where it was previously, that is actually where it absorbed. It's a high volume nodes, it's points of control. It doesn't make too much difference. Volume is volume, but it is nice to it cleans up all of this, so you don't have to be like tracking every single high volume node. You can just look at your developing POC, and you can see where all the areas where there has been historical volume is. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else for me to talk about. I've probably missed a load of stuff on this now. I am in a short position. Okay, so you can pull your fibs nice and easy, simple. We've got liquidity below the lows that line up quite nicely with all of these levels here. Okay, so just below this low, you've got the 0.5, just below this low, you've got the golden pocket, and then you come back into the 4-hour order block, which is confluent with the value area low of this whole range, confluent with the 4-hour AB, and confluence with the daily level, and also the macro range value area high. I am looking to take profit on this fairly quickly. There was a 5-minute order block that I was looking at. So I said to the crew, that's just hit. So I actually need to take profit on this already. Otherwise, I'm not doing what I said I would do. But basically, yeah, I took a scalp short from here. I was looking just for price to come into this 5-minute OB as just a banker. Get that banker in, because we haven't actually taken out the daily open. I'm still aware that this could come back up before maybe a bit more of a move down. But anyway, yeah, take profit one in. Let me just, it's fine, I'll take it in a minute, I don't care. And then there should be other opportunities to short if we do get one more move up into this. Maybe that creates that divergence, and then you can get that bigger move down to the downside to create a possible higher low. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, that's the Bitcoin price action. I know I've done a whole video on Bitcoin. There's quite a lot to go over. I'm going to skip through ETH. It's just doing the same as what Bitcoin does. I mean, like, look at the ETH BTC pair. It's like nothing. Literally does nothing. So not really much point. The S&P. Okay, not too much here either, actually. I think it's the Nasdaq that's been nice. So the Nasdaq coming into this golden pocket region, coming back up to test previous highs and getting a pretty decent bounce off of that. So the Nasdaq had obviously broken through that parabolic advance last week. We briefly took out the highs, very much reminiscent of what you would expect to see from some distribution. You break a parabolic trend, you take out the highs to stop out the early shorts, and then you initiate this move to the downside. There's a very real possibility that we could see a much bigger move down across the legacy markets, which is why you do have to be aware of significant downside on Bitcoin and crypto in general. However, if it is holding here, then you've got to look at this as being fairly bullish. It's very similar to Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin currently holding in a range above the value area high of its previous range, and the Nasdaq here holding in a, or currently holding in a range above previous highs, which isn't bad. So there's absolutely no reason why we can't continue to play this uptrend, even though it has lost momentum. I think maybe a period of consolidation, do something like that before breaking out is potentially on the cards here, but we'll have to just yeah, be aware of that. The DXY, okay, you can see here, yeah, not too much more to say. It's a similar situation, right? We've had a pretty decent bounce from the DXY. You've at least changed this downtrend back into, so you have like that 3 waves down, 3 waves up. Are we going to get this continuation down again, back down towards that 2017 high, back down towards that daily level? Time will tell. It does look like we are getting a bit of a pullback so far today, so again that's likely to lead into a bit more nice stuff for crypto and the rest of the market. Yeah, so that's it really. Yeah, there's obviously CPI data coming out today at, well, an hour before the New York Open, roughly. So be aware of that. That could lead to some volatility, but I do think it's likely to be internal. But overall, yeah, I'm going to stop talking because I do have a very sore throat still. So thank you for watching. Again, I had to record this twice, so I hope it all made sense, and I'll catch you guys soon. Cheers, bye.